Three.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our team presentation on Enbrel, also known as etanercept. This is Kamal Woods, and my teammates are Jonathan Brooks, Alexandra Montgomery, and Nish Patel. Enbrel is a biologic that is indicated for the treatment of several autoimmune rheumatologic diseases, such as rheumatoid arthritis, or RA. It is a TNF-alpha inhibitor. That's a tumor necrosis factor inhibitor. And this is currently under the Amgen portfolio. Amgen itself is a Fortune 500 company out of Southern California that focuses on applied molecular genetics, as the name Amgen implies.
So Amgen's strengths are that it has a global distribution network, a growing cash flow, skilled workforce in R&D, as well as successful mergers and acquisitions. They acquired Onyx Pharmaceuticals in 2013. For weaknesses, their R&D investments are low compared to competing payers. They have a limited product scope, and the company does not have niche market segments. In regards to opportunities, they have the ability to enter into emerging markets to increase their product line and entice customers through new technology to improve pricing strategies. They can also gain consumers through online streaming. For threats, they have economic changes in different operating countries. Their legal battles regarding Pfizer hiding the hidden potential Enbrel has to delaying the effects of Alzheimer's disease hit. They have new laws from government regarding regulation and R&D, and they're improving technology from competitors. Enbrel is highly successful, bringing in more than $5 billion in sales in 2015 alone. Pfizer works with Amgen and holds the rights to this drug outside of the United States. Enbrel has now been approved for treating children with plaque psoriasis. However, the company faces stiff competition from both AbbVie's Humira and Johnson & Johnson's Remicade. Despite the fierce competitions, Enbrel is among the few drugs expected to top the sales ranking in 2020, despite their current impending decline in sales. Enbrel fits the mold for Amgen's product line as they focus on patients that are suffering from diseases with limited treatment options. Examples of other areas that they have treatment for are osteoporosis, cancer, migraines, anemia, and treatment of acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
Enbrel is a soluble form of a TNF receptor developed by the Immunex Corporation, which is now owned by Amgen. First approved by the FDA in November of 1998 for the treatment of moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis. Other indications for Enbrel include AS, PSO in children 4 years and older and some adults, and JIA in the moderate to severely active stage. The Immunex Corporation was founded in Seattle in 1981. Immunex began as a biotechnology company with the goal of becoming a true pharmaceutical company able to fund its own research. To do so, Immunex began selling its technology to companies that had financial backing to take those technologies to market. Encountering a similar fate that affected many small biotech companies, Immunex was bought out in 1993 and 1994. In 1997, Immunex partnered with Earth Pharmaceuticals, a smaller subsidiary owned by Pfizer, to market Enbrel in North America. In 1998, Enbrel received its FDA approval as the first in-class drug for the treatment of moderate to severe RA. In 2002, Immunex was purchased for $16 billion by Amgen, a deal that seemed incredible to some at the time, but in retrospect, other indications for Enbrel include those outlined on the slide below. Enbrel's primary patent 5395760, was filed May 10, 1990, and was set to expire in 2013. However, there are 18 other patents currently active for Enbrel that will guarantee market exclusivity through 2029. Amgen's exclusivity is being challenged in courts by Novartis' generic biosimilar Sandoz, which was approved in the US in 2016. The impact of generics on Enbrel sales would be large, given that Enbrel is currently the only drug able to sell in the market currently. The litigation stemming from the Enbrel case is from the 2009 Biologics Price Competition and Innovation Act, which established the biosimilar market in the US, allowing the pathway to market for large molecular drugs. The act was designed to improve patient access to lower cost options upon FDA approval, which Amgen is trying to fight given its extensive patent extensions.
Clinical efficacy for each of the 5 indications are based on various physical and well-being assessments. The primary endpoints for RA are disease activity in the 28 joints examined and a modified total sharp score, examining joint space in the wrists, hands, and feet. Similarly, endpoints for the additional indications consist of measurements such as % improvements and patient and physician assessment. Phase 3 testing for each indication consisted of multi-center, double-blinded, and randomized trials. However, I will focus primarily on the details of the RA trial. So for rheumatoid arthritis, 3 studies were conducted. The trial of etanercept and methotrexate with radiographic patient outcomes, the TEMPO study, the comparison of operative to monitoring and endocrine therapy, the COMET study, and the early rheumatoid arthritis, the ERA study. COMET was a 2-period study with 542 patients enrolled. In the first 1-year period, patients received either 50 milligrams of Enbrel plus methotrexate or methotrexate alone on a weekly basis. In the second-year period, the groups were swapped with the Enbrel group receiving methotrexate alone. Common adverse effects observed throughout these trials include upper respiratory infection and injection site reactions, such as redness, swelling, and itching and pain. Serious but rare effects include life-threatening infection, neurologic reactions such as the onset or exacerbation of central nervous system demyelinating disorders and mental status changes, and malignancies such as leukemia, lymphoma, and melanomas. The more serious adverse effects have led to black box warnings for infection and malignancies. There is an increased risk of serious infection with Enbrel when it's taken in combination with other immunosuppressants. These include the reactivation or new infection of tuberculosis and invasive fungal infections. Additionally, malignancies include lymphoma, acute and chronic leukemia, melanoma and non-melanoma skin cancer in adults, and Hodgkin's and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in the pediatric population. In the RA COMET study, Enbrel demonstrated DAS28 remission in 49.8% of patients, compared to 27.8% with methotrexate alone. The 52-week change in modified total sharp score was 0.27 for Enbrel plus methotrexate, compared to 2.44 with methotrexate alone. Clinical significance was also demonstrated for the additional 4 indications, with maintenance of therapeutic benefits seen throughout the study period. Key competitors for Enbrel are AbbVie's Humira and Johnson & Johnson's Remicade. In 2016, sales revenue for Enbrel was $8.8 billion, compared to $16 billion for Humira and $7.8 billion for Remicade. The annual cost for Enbrel is $24,700 compared to $16,500 for Humira and $20,700 for Remicade. Enbrel's price point is due to a number of factors. Enbrel was the first highly effective biologic to market for RA and includes 4 additional indications. Post-launch, a number of studies have been carried out tracking the overall efficacy of Enbrel. The weekly dosing schedule of Enbrel versus biweekly or monthly schedule of its competitors is a factor that inhibits an increased price point. Adverse effects of both Humira and Remicade are similar to those of most other TNF blockers. These include respiratory infection, headache, rash, coughing, and stomach pain. Rarer but serious adverse effects include the risk of serious viral and fungal infection and cancers, including hepatosplenic T-cell cancer. For RA treatment with Humira, long-term studies of efficacy have been conducted. A 10-year follow-up revealed that Humira is effective in leading to low disease activity state or remission for a large percentage of patients. There is limited post-launch efficacy data for Remicade. Data available revealed that Remicade is also a highly effective treatment for RA with negative sharp scores representing an improvement in structural and joint damage.
We'll now talk about the private insurance coverage. From a national search, just under 4,500 plans were uncovered, and Enbrel falls in tier 2 in about 47% of those plans. And so essentially, stated otherwise, 47% of the times, Enbrel is formulary. The caveat is that in 41% of the cases, a prior auth is required, or there has to be step therapy where patients have first tried methotrexate or another agent and then can be advanced to Enbrel if necessary. The remaining 53%, there's also coverage, but Enbrel is non-formulary. In the UK, as seen by the NICE formulary, there is coverage. Enbrel is indicated for severe rheumatoid arthritis. The caveat there being that patients would have to have failed traditional DMARDs or the disease-modifying anti-rheumatic drugs. That includes, again, methotrexate, but other medications like Plaquenil are also included in that. Next, we'll look at the cost effectiveness. The TEMPO trial was mentioned in previous slides, and this analysis was based on the TEMPO trial. Again, you may recall that there were 682 patients in that trial, and patients were either on Enbrel plus methotrexate or on monotherapy, Enbrel by itself or methotrexate by itself. All of these patients were ones with active rheumatoid arthritis, and what was seen in the treatment group, those that were on Enbrel and methotrexate, is that there was a gain in quality of 0.38 at 2 years, and when therapy was extended out for 10 years, there was a gain in quality of 0.91. So looking at the cost over the 2 years and the 10 years versus the gain in quality, we see that there was, for the 2-year time frame, the cost of that was $37,000 plus, and 10 years, $46,000 plus annually. And that essentially falls into a favorable ratio. The threshold typically is 50,000 euros for each gain in quality. There are a number of biosimilars that are lurking. And so one of the challenges that Enbrel faces is how to maintain its revenue streams. And one of the biosimilars is Erelzi from Novartis. And so Enbrel has come up with an outcomes contract. It's a 2-year contract with the Harvard Pilgrim. And what this is essentially trying to do is to look at how Enbrel performs in the real world, putting aside its performance in the randomized controlled trials. And so real world effectiveness is measured by those 5 attributes in the middle of the slide. Patient compliance, whether or not they have to switch to alternative therapy or they've got to add additional therapy, if the dose of Enbrel is increased, and if steroids have to be used to rescue therapy. And so these are used as a measure of effectiveness, and hence a measure of the success and outcome of therapy, and payments are based on this effectiveness algorithm. It is essentially a form of pay for performance.
So Amgen targets different physician segments for different drugs. This ranges from oncologists to rheumatologists. The company educates and promotes physicians through online education, pharmaceutical representatives, and research studies. The company utilizes direct-to-consumer marketing to overcome barriers of the niche markets that they serve by providing information regarding a medicine's price, potential out-of-pocket costs, and Amgen-sponsored financial assistance. As of April 2019, the company has added the list prices of drugs to their website in order to ensure that patients are able to make more informed decisions regarding their routes of care. Compared to competitors, Amgen seems to fall short regarding the creation of more innovative ways to market. Competitors such as AbbVie have more accessibility on their website when it comes to accessing information on the drug, as well as the marketing tools that they utilize. However, Amgen still has a competitive market share and a product that's currently helping thousands of people. Thank you so much.